What's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Lutties-lookback. My name is Nick Luttrell. On today's show, we'll be talking a lot of Razorbacks. Razorback men's basketball, Razorback baseball, and Razorback softball. For the next 15 minutes or so, we'll be talking all hogs. And then the last 5 or 10 minutes of the show, we'll touch on some of the other sports around the natural state in the baseball and basketball world. But first, we'll start my show how we always do with my 3 big things from the big weekend that it was for Arkansas. We'll start with my 3 big things for Arkansas. Basketball, we'll talk baseball here in a moment, but the 3 things you see behind me at Arkansas's win over Missouri, 94-86 the final score. The 3 big things: it was a gritty, much-needed win, bounce-back win, I should say, for this Arkansas team. The second big thing, I still want to see improvement. I still want to see improvement, especially on the defensive side of the ball for the Razorbacks. And the third biggest thing, please keep your guys healthy. No more injuries. Arkansas cannot afford that, and I'll talk about that later. Let's first start with how needed this win was. And now, they could have lost this game. They would have been okay. You could have blamed it on injuries. You could have blamed it on how tired the team was from that thriller on Wednesday night. For those who don't know that missed it, Arkansas played at Alabama, a really big game last Wednesday night. Went to double overtime. Darius Acuff scored 49 points, set a bunch of new records for a freshman, for an Arkansas player. It helps when you go into double overtime, but he was already having the performance that was going to set records, and he did it in that game. And it was awesome. It was exciting, but Arkansas just couldn't hold on in the end, mainly because their guys fouled out, and they had to play 2 guys who I don't think are even scholarship players, and they lost the game at an Alabama team that they should have beaten, and that they were up by double digits. But we're not here to talk about that game. We're here to talk about this Missouri game. And what Arkansas needed to do in this game is win it. That's all they had to do. And I know we're in mid-February, but it feels like March, because you just got to win at this point. Arkansas is in a really good shape for, to be in the NCAA tournament, obviously, to be as high as a 4 seed, as low as a 6 seed, probably in the 4 to 6 range. I guess you could throw them in the 7 if they perform really terribly. I think they're a 5 or a 6 seed right now in the NCAA tournament. We'll take that. But they got to keep winning games, and especially win games at home, beat the teams that they should beat. And what Arkansas needed to do in this game, they did. They bounced back. They got the win against a really feisty Missouri team. Missouri maybe played harder than Arkansas in this game, which hasn't happened often this season. And it made sense that game mattered more to Missouri because they're a bubble team to make the NCAA tournament. The win would have meant more for Missouri than a win for Arkansas, for sure. So they came out ready to go. And Missouri, give them credit. They've got a good basketball team. I know we don't. I'm not going to hype up Missouri that much because we don't like Missouri here as Arkansas fans. But they've got a darn good basketball team, and I kind of hope they make it to March Madness, because they're a sleeper team. I would say, hey, that's a really good 10 or 11 seed that could knock off this seed and maybe make it to the Sweet 16. I think Missouri's got that potential. So I think it was a good win for the Razorbacks. As I mentioned, much needed. At this point in the season, when you're this injury depleted, when you're so tired after a big game against Alabama, to just win the game, to just go out there and win, and to have such a balanced effort offensively. I mean, how many guys got involved? Billy Richmond led the team in scoring for the first time all season long. Darius Acuff was quiet and didn't have the ball as much as he probably needed to, but he still dropped 20-plus points. That's pretty good. I think 20 or 21 points is how many he finished with. Trevin Brazile was okay. Malik Ewan, how about Malik Ewan? How about his performance? I know the defense could do some work, but offensively, a great performance from him. Talk about the Maliks. Let's talk about Malik Thomas making a couple big 3-pointers down the stretch. DJ Wagner providing a spark off the bench. They had a balanced team effort, and they had a bounce-back win, which is what they needed to do on Saturday, get the win. That doesn't matter a lot of these other little nitpicky things that I'm going to nitpick here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. Arkansas got the win, and that's what they needed to do. So before I move on to kind of dive back into my other 2 big things, let's hear from Coach Cal what he had to say after the game.
I did not know what to expect, and I was prepared to defend them if they just didn't have it today. I was ready. I had it. You want me to tell you what I was going to say? I'll tell you. That they didn't have it. I got their backs. That Alabama game where you make more baskets, more threes, 6, 7 turns, they have 12. That's more possessions. 6 blocks against 1 block, and you lose. And it's on the road, and it's crazy. Wouldn't you expect a letdown in this game? I did. So I was ready for it. And what I told the staff, if they really come out and give us something, they're better than I thought.
Yeah, so they're a good team. They're better than even what their head coach thinks of them. So that I know he's being a little silly there, but they're a good team. Arkansas is a good team. They're going to continue to get better as the season goes along. They got to stay healthy, and I'll get to that. One critique, if I can, about this team is still wanting to see improvement on the defense, and that's my second big thing you see behind me, especially inside the paint. I was impressed with Missouri and what their 7-footers were able to do against Arkansas. Now, I know they had the size advantage against the Razorbacks, but I still am worried, not just based on the athleticism and the talent of Arkansas's bigs, but the foul trouble. I know when we talk about injuries here in a second, I know it's not the bigs that are injured, but they get in foul trouble. Nick Pringle can't help but go out there and cause a foul. And then he gets on the bench, and then he can't provide good minutes. Nick Pringle's a decent player, and I wish he could be playing more and showing what he's actually made of. But Malik Ewan is getting that playing time because Malik Ewan can go out there and play slightly better defense without fouling. They both have to do a better job of playing better defense. And I don't know what it is that exactly needs to change. I know it was tough. I know it kind of reared its ugly head in this Missouri game because of the size advantage that Missouri had. And actually, statistically, Arkansas won the rebounding battle and won the points in the paint, but it just didn't feel like it for this game. There were just some frustrating moments in this game, especially when Missouri was winning. They were just having their way inside. And that's the key to beat Arkansas, is you have bigs that can beat them. That's what's going to be really difficult for the Razorbacks in less than a week when they face off against the #1 team in the SEC, the Florida Gators, in Gainesville when College game day is there. That's going to be a difficult one for Arkansas to win because Florida's got some bigs that Arkansas just can't guard. And that's, if Arkansas gets paired up, let's say they're a 5 seed, they could get paired up with the 12 seed that has a couple good bigs and some shooters on the outside, and they could take down the Razorbacks. That happens in March. And you want to be a complete team once it comes to March, and I'm a little bit worried about the bigs for the Razorbacks, especially the bigs playing defense. Let's finally move on to my third and final point of my 3 big things. Please, please, please keep guys healthy. In case you missed it, Carter Knox likely out for the season. They did not say that. He had a torn meniscus or surgery on the meniscus somewhere around the knee, something like that. And there's no timetable for his return. I don't think he's coming back. That's just my prediction. I haven't heard that. That's just kind of my best guess at what I think. Doing a little bit of research on the surgery process that happened. I don't know. I don't know any of these things, okay? I'm just guessing. Carter Knox is out for a while. We know that. And I'm guessing he's not coming back. So let's prepare for Carter Knox not to be back. Another one is Isaiah Sealy. He's been unavailable the past few games, and I know he hasn't really played a lot of meaningful minutes, but he's going to need to now, I think, a little bit. And he showed it a week or two ago at Mississippi State maybe that he can play good. He can come in there and provide 10 minutes a game. Isaiah Sealy, the freshman, can do that. He's also a little bit banged up. So it'd be nice to get him healthy, to give Malik Thomas, Darius Acuff, DJ Wagner, some of those guards, Billy Richmond, an opportunity to take a breather, like rest a little bit. So those are the guys who are hurt, but more than anything is the 2 guys who have been Arkansas's 2 best players the past few weeks, and that's Billy Richmond and that's Darius Acuff. Neither one of them have shown up on any injury availability report, but those guys are injured. Billy Richmond's getting injured every other play. If you watch this game, it was just, you're just grinding your teeth because you're like, don't get injured. Just stay in there and stay healthy. And that's my plea to this Arkansas team going forward. You're in a good shape to make the NCAA tournament. Now just stay healthy. Just relax a little bit. Darius Acuff, we love you, man. But if you're walking around in a boot for more times of the week than you are without a boot, maybe you should sit out a game. Because I don't want you to go out there and run your whole career or run the rest of this season because you want to beat Missouri or beat Texas A&M. Just maybe sit out a game or two. That's okay. Arkansas, they're in good enough shape for that to happen. Now they need to make sure everyone else is healthy if Acuff wants to sit out a game so he can rest up. But I think something like that needs to happen because I want to see Acuff. I don't want to hear any more talk about him walking around in a walking boot and then playing in the NCAA tournament. Like I love the fight. I love the grittiness from him. Like that's awesome. But man, I don't want the kid to get hurt. Like come on. And that's me caring for his career, but that's also me caring for this Arkansas team. If Arkansas wants to be at its best in the NCAA tournament, which they do, then you can relax for a game or two to end this regular season. It's okay. Or sit them out the SEC tournament. Does that really matter at this point? I don't know. We'll see how Arkansas closes out the season. Does a 5 or a 6 seed matter? Maybe. Look, these things are tough. But all I'm asking is Arkansas, just stay healthy. Stay healthy, and they'll be in really good shape. All right, that's enough men's basketball talk from the weekend for the Razorbacks. Let's move on to baseball. Let's check out my 3 kind of takeaways, my 3 main players, I should say, from this past weekend. You see them there: Colin Fisher, Cam Kojul, and Kohio Aloy. Arkansas getting the sweep over Xavier, their home opener against Xavier. A 5-2 win on Friday, a 7-6 walk-off win in the bottom of the 9th inning against Xavier on Saturday, and then Sunday also a walk-off, also by Aloy. That was actually technically in the 8th inning, and that came from a walk-off home run from Aloy because of the run rule. So that's how that one ended. But you see the 3 kind of impact players from this weekend. The first one is a guy who performed the best I've seen him this season, and the best I've seen him as a Razorback, and one of the best performances we may see all season long. I don't think it's being talked about enough what Colin Fisher did for this Razorback squad. Game 3 against Xavier, he puts up 8 innings pitched, basically a complete game because Arkansas won in run rule fashion, so they did not play the 9th inning. He gave up 1 hit. I think it was the first or second inning. He gave up that 1 hit. No runs, no earned runs, no walks, 11 strikeouts. I mean, we're talking about a guy who was a bullpen guy last year, kind of doing okay, stepping up this year, being a Game 3 starter. Now he's maybe got the chance to, he's got the chance to keep that position. Maybe he can keep moving up. He's probably satisfied in where he's at right now, but what a performance from Fisher. Really impressive what he was able to do. And I'll say this quickly about Xavier. We'll see what they are at the end of the season, but last year they were a bubble team to make the NCAA baseball tournament. So they're a good team, and they play in the Big East. They did have some of their key playmakers out for this game, so I think one of these games might have been different, honestly, if their Big East preseason player of the year, first or third baseman, would have played in this game. He didn't, and Arkansas got the win pretty easily. Colin Fisher able to dominate. The second person that I want to talk about is Cam Kojul. 7 hits on 13 at-bats. It's a .538 batting average, 7 RBIs, 2 home runs. He was electric. So was Kohio Aloy. 6 for 11 with a .545 batting average. Look, he started out last year on a really high note, and he's starting out this year the same way. And he's not even – I'll let Dave Van Horn say this in a second, but Kohio Aloy's playing really good. 5 RBIs, 2 home runs. Look, I know Arkansas offense isn't – if you watched any of these games or you followed along this weekend, they didn't look amazing. At times, their bats could have got going a little bit more. We saw it in the final game on Sunday, an 11-0 win. Some of those other games you get a little bit worried about. Not worried about the pitching, that's for sure. But batting, I am a little bit. Fielding was okay. We kind of look at those 3 areas: pitching, fielding, and hitting. Really love pitching. Fielding's okay. Hitting can be here and there. It's still early. It's still early to figure out this team. And what we're 8 games into the season, something like that. I think 7 or 8 games into the year. So still a lot to figure out. But speaking of those 2 on the bottom of the screen behind me, Cam Kojul and Kohio Aloy, here's what head coach Dave Van Horn had to say about his 2 playmakers. Starting with Cam Kojul, he gives a little answer about him, and then transitions to talk about Kohio Aloy after the game on Sunday.
Clutch all weekend. Got some big hits, 2 out hits to give us the lead. You go back to last weekend, he got a big hit, home run to tie the game after we let a lead slip against Texas Tech. So he's such a threat at the plate, and he'd probably tell you that he can hit the ball better. You know, he's missed some pitches, but he's hit it enough. He's just strong. He muscles balls into right field. He got that pitch that ended the game today, but he didn't get all of it. But he's strong enough, and with a little wind, it'll go 420 feet. You guys saw him last year at the beginning of the year when he was so hot, and he's not hitting like that yet, but he's hitting really well.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing to me, what DVH just said about Aloy. This guy was 6 for 11 over the weekend. He's not even hitting. DVH just said he's not even hitting the ball that well. He said his home run to end the game on Sunday that went 420 feet center field was a mishit. And he hit it 420 feet, so that just shows you the power that he has. We saw a little bit of that last year. We saw his, his older brother winning the Golden Spikes last year, and Vahiva Aloy having that potential. Maybe Kohio can rise to that level. Biggest problem with Kohio, if we want to talk about quick and negatives, is he's a right fielder for the Razorbacks, and he's not the best right fielder. That's certainly an area he has to improve on, and Arkansas needs maybe to switch him to DH when Nolan Souza gets better. Lots to talk about with that, lots in depth to go into, but I've talked enough about baseball. One last thing I will say, I like the fight from this team. I like the fight. They were able to kind of churn out a win on Friday. They kind of came back, kind of had a up and down game on Saturday, but won in the 9th inning, and then Sunday just cruised to a win. So, but I still like the fight, and they're being tested early on. That's good. That's what you want to see. You're being tested early on. So when it comes June, you actually go to Omaha and you win the whole freaking thing. Wouldn't that be great? We'll see. Let's go to softball now. Arkansas softball. Trying out some new graphics, so let me know what you think here. But you see Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Razorbacks having their first home opener at Bogle Park. Friday wins over SEMO and Northwestern, both by 6-0 apiece. Saturday, 7-0 over Northwestern, 16-2 over SEMO. And then Sunday, a close one against Northwestern, 9-8. I think the Razorbacks were up 4 or 5-0 or something. Northwestern came back to tie it. But then, once you get a little bit of resilience, then Natalia Rijo steps to the plate, hits a 3-run home run to give Arkansas the lead back up by 3. They go on to win that game. They kind of win this Razorback Invitational Series against SEMO and against Northwestern. The big thing from the weekend was Robin Herron. On Friday in their game against Northwestern, not against SEMO, against their game against Northwestern, a no-hitter. Very impressive that Herron was able to do that. 12 strikeouts, did not give up a single run, a single hit. I think she maybe had 1 walk, or else it would have been a perfect game. I think that's right. I don't think I wrote that down, but great out of Herron. That's Arkansas's ace. She's shown the potential to be that good. She has a potential to be that good. On the flip side, she turns around Sunday, comes into the game kind of when Arkansas is struggling a little bit, gives up 6 hits, 3 earned runs. I think that was only in about 3 innings pitched. So some up and downs there. Another pitcher for the Razorbacks, Taylor Timmerman, was good. Fielding was great for the Razorbacks. We just talked pitching. Let's talk fielding. Fielding was great. No errors over the weekend for Arkansas. Hitting, good. Maybe some room for improvement. But as I mentioned last week, they've got so many stars, so many studs on this team that can just blast the ball. I mean, they call them the Bogle Bombers for the last few years when Courtney Deifel's been at the helm and has been getting this program better and better. And they've got the potential this year to be even better, I think, than years past. And that's special. They're the number 7 team in the country for a reason. They should keep going this direction. They've got the normal, players we're familiar with, the Reagan Johnsons, Ella McDowell, Tiana Bell. Tiana Bell's a transfer. Brinley Bain is transfer. Kaylee Wyckoff, you might be familiar with from the last few seasons. Carly Davison had a really good day on Saturday, I believe. So that is Arkansas softball. Okay, let's move on to non-Razorback sports now. Let's go to the men's basketball side from Saturday. In the green is the Arkansas wins. In the red is Arkansas losses, and this is Arkansas, the state, not the Razorbacks we're talking here. So let's start with Arkansas State. The Red Wolves getting the win over Louisiana Monroe, 102-94. Red Wolves have won 5 of their last 6. They're a game and a half back of first place with 2 games to go. That Arkansas State should win, and then we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens once we get to the Sun Belt tournament. If you remember last year, and this is how the women's one is too, it's weird in the Sun Belt tournament. You only need to win a couple games, then you're crowned champion. So Arkansas State was so close to doing that last year and going to March Madness. At the beginning of the year, they were picked to win their conference. Even with the new head coach, Ryan Pannone, they've lived somewhat up to that potential, somewhat not. But they need to win these last 2 games to set them up for a good chance to win their conference tournament once it comes time for that here in a few weeks. We're getting close to that time, folks. Conference tournament time in the basketball world. Little Rock falling to SEMO 70-65. The Trojans played a good game. They had their good offensive weapons. They shared the ball better than they have this season. But it's a good SEMO team. There's a reason why the Redhawks, is that what SEMO is? I think so. The reason why the Redhawks are tied for first in the OVC right now, and that's Little Rock had to put together their best game, and they put together a really good game, but not quite good enough to get the win. So they lose, as you can see in the top right corner. Let's go bottom left, UCA. Bears had won 11 in a row. They were going for 12 in a row. They had a chance. They had a one against Florida Gulf Coast. Just gave up a bucket at the buzzer by Florida Gulf Coast to force overtime. And then UCA had the ball, tied up with 20 seconds left, turned it over. FGCU goes on the other end and scores. UCA comes right back. Cam Hunter, good look at a three-pointer, misses. The ball gets tipped back to him. Another three-pointer, wide open at the buzzer, and he misses again. So tough night for Cam Hunter. Still good as far as points, 24 points, but 2 of 9 from beyond the arc, so not the most efficient day for him. It's never the worst thing in the world, in my opinion, when a win streak comes to an end, especially not too late in the season. So now what UCA is going to do, they're pretty mad that they lost this game, I'd imagine. They're pretty mad, so they're going to turn around. You know who their next game is against? The number 1 team in the conference. Now, UCA needs to win that game and win their final game of the season and have Austin Peay lose their last 2, I think, to win the conference or to have the 1 seed. So it's pretty unlikely. I don't think it's I think there's still a small % chance that UCA can win the conference, but unlikely at this point. But UCA, that's okay. That's okay for them to lose that. As long as they fired up and ready to go for their conference tournament, again, that's all that matters. When we're talking about these teams, they're never going to make March Madness unless they win their conference tournament. All that matters is playing good here in a few weeks. So UCA still playing good even though they lost on the road to Florida Gulf Coast. And might I mention, they've had 3 conference losses this season, all of them on the road, all of them in overtime. They've got a big one against the number 1 team in their conference Wednesday, Austin Peay. Hopefully it doesn't go to overtime and follow similar vibes to how the other games have gone. And then finally, the bottom right, UAPB beating Prairie View 84-82. That snaps their 3-game losing streak. They're tied for 3rd in the SWAC with 3 games to go, so we'll see what they can do. I'll have to look back at my stats. I feel like UAPB is putting together one of the better seasons in recent history. So good job for them. So that's men's hoops. Let's flip on to the women's hoops. We got probably 5 or 10 minutes left of the show. Women's hoops side from Saturday, Arkansas State dominating Louisiana 92-66. That's good. Back-to-back wins after they had those 3 straight losses. Maybe they're heading in the right direction a little bit. They're now 1 game back of first place in the Sun Belt with 2 games left. They've got a big one Tuesday. You might be watching this show on Tuesday. It's a big one tonight or a big one tomorrow whenever you're watching the show, or maybe watching it Wednesday, whatever. It's a big game on Tuesday for Arkansas State. They host Troy. The Trojans are the top team, I think tied for the top in the Sun Belt. So Red Wolves need to get that win, and that would be huge. You know what? I think they do. They get the win at home. I'm predicting it right now. Okay, Little Rock falling to SEMO 71-62. They probably should have won this game. They needed to win. A little bit inconsistency continue for the Trojans. They're now 10-8 in the conference. That's kind of middle of the line with 2 games to go. UCA, the bottom left here in the green, their 7th win in a row over West Georgia, dominating 73-59. They especially dominated in the second half and especially in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Wolves 18-8. We'll take that. And still a good win, also despite them shooting pretty poorly from beyond the arc. 4 of 29 from 3-point range did the Sugar Bears, but they still got the win easily. They are tied for 3rd in the Atlantic Sun. And then finally, UAPB beating Prairie View A&M 81-56 in the bottom right corner of your screen. Great job by the Golden Lions, especially down low. Their forwards providing an excellent edge for the Golden Lions in this game against the Lady Panthers. They outscored them in the paint 58-14. Outscored them in the paint 58-14. Great job down low. They also out-rebounded Prairie View 51-32. So that's also good. You're going to win a lot of games when you out-rebound teams by, 19 or so. So UAPB got kind of middle of the line in the SWAC right now. All right. That's enough basketball talk. Let's talk baseball. We talked about the Razorbacks. Let's talk about some other teams from around our area. A lot of green from the weekend, so that's good. We got Little Rock, UCA, A-State, and UAPB. We'll start with the Trojans sweeping West Georgia. A couple of really close games there, but a great start to the season for Little Rock. A sweep over West Georgia. UCA, 3 out of 4 against Northwestern State. We will take that. They're 5-3 to start the year after a little bit of a rough opening series to start their season a week and a half ago. Arkansas State winning the series against Eastern Illinois. Great job on the pitching effort. You see Eastern Illinois, 2 runs. They got the bats going there on Saturday and Sunday. They're 5-2. And then UAPB, they've got a tough schedule, but 4-4, that's, I think, 4 more wins than they had to start the year last year. They got 2 right off the gate against Stephen F. Austin and then lost the final 2 against them on Sunday. So they split the series with Stephen F. Austin. All right, it's time for my Luttie's Legend of the Week. It's been a while since we've had this on our show, but I decided to bring it back because it needed to be brought back. Because Arkansas Gymnastics, we haven't talked about them, I don't think, on my show all year long. But there was one gym back that did something no other gym back has ever done in the history of Arkansas Gymnastics on Friday night at Bud Walton Arena. She scored a perfect 10. Now, if you don't know anything about gymnastics, that's perfect. You can't get any score better than that. Now, I'm not the person to ask for much specifics on that. I know she ran, she competed in the vault, she jumped and she flipped around and she stuck the landing. And people have been talking about kind of leading up to this based on how difficult her routine is and how many turns and flips she does. If she were to land that and to stick it perfectly, she could get a 10. She's gotten close this season, but the judges haven't given it to her except on Friday night. Frankie Price getting a 10. It is the first ever 10 in program history, so great job to her. She missed the last couple months of the season last year. I think some kind of knee injury, I'm pretty sure, maybe ACL, was out for the season, has come back this year, slowly but surely gotten better and better to help a top 10 ranked Arkansas gymnastics team. So we'll keep an eye on them as they go forward. Finally, to my Luttie's look ahead, let's talk men's basketball. Arkansas hosting the Aggies on Wednesday night back at Bud Walton Arena. This was a Texas A&M team that I think was 6 or 7-0 in the SEC at one point. They looked like, well, they kind of were the best team in the conference until they weren't. They've certainly faltered as of late, but they play a high-intensity, quick-paced, in-your-face type of offense and defense that Arkansas will need to be ready for. I'm worried about this game for Arkansas because of their injuries and because they've had back-to-back tiring games. So maybe this game being Wednesday night helps versus it being Tuesday. We'll have to see, but again, if you need to rest Darius Acuff, do it. Whatever needs to happen for Arkansas to be ready to go in March. But obviously it would be certainly nice if the Razorbacks could get the win against Texas A&M. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Luttie's Look Back. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. We talked basketball, baseball, Razorbacks, Red Wolves, Golden Lions, Trojans, Bears, all of it. It was a really fun show. We're back at it next week. Same time, same place. We'll see you then.